The US president's offer to end the government shutdown has been rejected by the Democratic Party. Part of Donald Trump's compromise to extend protection for 700,000 so-called dreamers by another 3 years, also do the same for another 300,000 who arrived in the country from war and disaster zones. Let's speak to Professor Scott Lucas, who is a professor of international politics at Birmingham University in the United Kingdom. Professor, why have the Democrats rejected the president's compromise? Just as importantly, possibly, do you think Donald Trump knew they were going to reject it before he even made the offer?
We'll need to establish something important. This was not a deal in Donald Trump's speech. This is not a compromise. What he's done is he's given up one hostage and kept others. And that's because in exchange for the $5.7 billion for the wall, he says, okay, I will give 3 years protected status to these dreamers. These are 800,000 young immigrants who came to the U.S. as children. But Donald Trump didn't mention that he removed the protections from those dreamers last year and threatened them with deportation. So he said, well, I'll give temporary protected status to 300,000 people from Latin American and Asian countries. He didn't mention that he removed those protections last year and would have deported them had a federal judge not intervened. So all he's done in exchange for trying to get this vanity project is really only given back a little bit of what he tried to take away last year. That's why the Democrats are hostile to this, and that's why I think it is not really a viable way forward.
Well, the government must surely eventually reopen. What do you think has to happen for the reopening of these, 9 federal departments?
And 800,000 federal employees who are either out of work or have to work without pay. Either you do one of two things. One is you have to convince Donald Trump that border security measures are the wall, even when they're not the wall, such as enhanced fencing, for example, such as infrared technology. But because he's so committed to the wall, whatever that means, I think it has to come through Congress. Either Mitch McConnell, the Republican majority leader, can force through Trump's proposal through the Senate, but I think that's unlikely. Or I think we have to go back to the fact that the House of Representatives has passed a deal to reopen the government. It includes $1.3 billion in border security, and the Democrats say they may be more. And the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, must decide whether he's going to allow that bill to go through the Senate or whether he's going to block it. In other words, as long as Mitch McConnell, the top Republican in the Senate, protects Donald Trump, this shutdown will continue.
As a candidate, Trump said he would drain the swamp. He was referring, of course, to the center of the country's political power. How much has this shutdown sucked him into that swamp and maybe even made him as much of a swamp monster as he says traditional politicians are?
Well, Donald Trump was always in the swamp. Drain the swamp was just a slogan which didn't match the reality that he surrounded himself with business cronies, he surrounded himself with lobbyists, and he surrounded himself with his family. What the swamp now is, however, is a bunker. Donald Trump cornered himself last month when he said that I will be proud to shut down the government for border security. And he owns this. And until he backs away to some extent from this vanity project, it's going to chip away at his popularity, even with his base. And that, combined with the Trump-Russia investigation, could put him in serious trouble well before the end of his first term.
Professor Scott Lucas, as always, thank you.